Starts right now.
And good morning to you. It's Thursday, March 30th.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a good week so far. We hope you're doing okay out there on the roadways. It's been kind of a mess this morning. Let's go ahead and check in with Justin.
Hey, good morning to you guys. It has been a mess. Damp, drizzly, showery. That's what we're dealing with right now. None of it very heavy, but it's been persistent, and it's going to stick around for another couple of hours. So you look at the radar here. Notice it's all really light, but it is just kind of been nonstop this morning with that drizzle. It's making the roads wet. You got puddles out there. And as we look at live radar here, we still have some returns coming through the city. So we're still going to see some more of this. It's not going to add up to a lot in your rain gauge, unfortunately, but it is going to keep everything just kind of damp and wet over the next couple of hours. We'll still see some showers even going into the afternoon. Not a lot, and probably the drizzle lets up, but there is still a chance for a stray shower or two later today. So keep the umbrella with you. That's the best advice we can give you. And as we go outside right now, there you see the scene. Low-hanging clouds, still some drizzle coming down at the airport, and temperatures 63. Dew point is at 63. When you get the temperature and dew point equal like that, that's when you start to get the fog and drizzle. Southeasterly winds at about 6 miles per hour. KSAT 12-hour forecast. We're going to keep some good chances of drizzle in the forecast next couple of hours, and then we'll start to see that taper off a little bit. But as I said, there still could be a stray shower even into the afternoon. Temperatures will make their way up to around 78 degrees for a high today, and then fall off into the 70s and 60s tonight. Tomorrow, a very different story in the sense that we could be up near 90 before a front comes through and brings some more changes by the weekend. We'll talk more about that. Plus, we've got the Valero Texas Open going on, too. We'll give you a forecast for that coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. I'm not looking forward to 90s. Looking out there with TransGuide, I-35 at I-37 South, a little bit of a holdup there. We've been having all kinds of issues on the roadways in different parts of San Antonio this morning. And now here's a look here at Highway 281. There was a holdup there as well. And looking at Highway 90 at General McMullen, things are slow going. But that one looks like normal traffic at Highway 281 at Nakoma.
And here's a look at today's 9 at 9.
Russia has arrested a Wall Street Journal reporter on suspicion of espionage. Russia's Federal Security Service says Evan Gershkovich was spying for the American government. They say he was detained while trying to obtain secret information about one of the Russian military-industrial complexes. In a statement, the Wall Street Journal says it's deeply concerned for his safety.
Multiple agencies are assisting with the wreckage earlier this morning left behind after 2 Black Hawk helicopters crashed in Kentucky last night. 9 service members were killed in the crash. It happened on a routine training mission just north of the Kentucky-Tennessee border. Authorities say the choppers crashed in a rural area and no residential areas were affected.
Prayers are coming in from around the world for Pope Francis, who was hospitalized with a respiratory infection. The 86-year-old pontiff had complained of some trouble breathing in recent days. He went into a hospital for medical tests and treatment, and the Vatican says he will remain there for at least several days.
In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia said he wants action from the Biden administration on the U.S. debt limit. The White House says President Biden has laid out plans to get the U.S. back on its feet financially, pointing a finger of blame at the GOP for not responding in kind. House Republicans are considering holding off on their budget proposals until after the debt ceiling talks are further along.
The Senate has passed a bill that would end the national COVID-19 emergency. The joint resolution, which cleared the House earlier this year, now heads to the President Biden's desk for his signature. The White House official says while the president strongly opposes the bill, Biden will sign it, and the administration will continue to work with agencies to wind down the national emergency.
Paul Rusesabagina is back home in San Antonio and receiving care at BAMC. Last week, it was announced that Rusesabagina would be freed from a jail in Rwanda, where he had been for 3 years, convicted on terrorism charges. He's still very much a human rights activist and was the inspiration for the film Hotel Rwanda, where he saved more than 1,000 people's lives.
Janssen announced it is scrapping its vaccine for RSV. The vaccine was getting ready to move into the late stage on its clinical trials, but the company says it stopped the trial to refocus its portfolio and after an assessment of the RSV vaccine landscape.
United Airlines has new deals with the union representing nearly 30,000 ground workers. No official details yet, but the contract agreements include raises to what the union calls industry best wages. United's also working on a new contract with its pilots after Delta struck a deal with their flight crews that will push up pay by 34%.
There's a new call to slow down work on artificial intelligence. Tesla head Elon Musk and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak joining hundreds of other tech leaders and AI experts in signing a letter coordinated by the Future of Life Institute. It says new safety standards need to be developed for AI first. And that's today's 9 at 9.
There's a new push to establish another no-fly list. This one is for unruly passengers after a spike in bad behavior on planes in recent months.
As ABC's M1 reports, several flight attendants traveled to Washington to share their horror stories and demand change.
Oh my God. This morning, a bipartisan push in Congress to get unruly and violent passengers off commercial flights for good.
Violence has to stop.
A new bill would create a national no-fly list for passengers that are fined or convicted for assaulting crew members on a flight.
Acts of violence are outlandish and unacceptable at any time. They're especially outlandish and unacceptable at 30,000 feet inside a closed airline cabin.
The FAA reported 831 unruly passenger incidents in 2022, up from 146 in 2019. Flight attendants all too frequently are the victims.
I was hit in the head, knocked to the ground, and I sustained very serious injuries as a result of that.
I was crying. I was traumatized. Law enforcement didn't come in time. The perpetrator walked off the plane and nothing happened.
An American Airlines flight attendant described getting a black eye.
Then he spat again in my face and sucker punched me in the eye. I was knocked back 3 feet before falling to the ground.
Currently, airlines can refuse service to unruly passengers, but offenders can still travel on other airlines. This new bill could stop that.
When it comes to violence, if you try, you will not fly.
I'm Wen, ABC News, Washington.
And as for what's next, the lawmakers backing this bill are trying to get more support in Congress, and they say they're optimistic.
In your other morning headlines, having a pet at home could lower the chance of a child developing a food allergy. That's according to a new study. Researchers analyzed data from over 65,000 children in Japan. They found that babies exposed to cats or indoor dogs have about a 16% lower chance of developing food allergies compared with babies in pet-free homes.
And one of the researchers said the findings suggest that exposure to dogs and cats might be beneficial against the development of certain food allergies. Kids living with cats were less likely to develop egg, wheat, and soybean allergies, while dog owners were less likely to have egg, melt, nut allergies. Experts say pet exposure may strengthen an infant's gut.
Check this out. NASA is studying one of the most powerful classes of explosions in the universe. This particular one is being called the BOAT, which stands for brightest of all time. The space agency announced it clocked a gamma ray burst back in October of last year that was unlike any other.
Scientists say the pulse of intense radiation was so exceptional that it blinded most of the gamma ray instruments in space. They believe a gamma ray blast like this one is so rare it only happens once in every 10,000 years.
It triggered numerous detectors on spacecraft and observatories around the globe, even Voyager 1 way out in interstellar space. Astronomers believe gamma ray bursts come from the formation of black holes.
NASA's James Webb and Hubble Space Telescopes searched for the supernova that usually follows long bursts, but they believe the entire star was swallowed up by the black hole instead of exploding.
In some other NASA-related news, one person is set to break the record for longest mission conducted by a U.S. astronaut. Frank Rubio traveled to the International Space Station on September 21st. He was supposed to come home this spring, but the spacecraft he arrived on sprang a leak in its coolant tank in December, so he'll have to wait until a Russian spacecraft returns to Earth. That's currently scheduled for September 27th, which means Rubio will have spent at least 371 days in orbit by then. The current American record was set last year by astronaut Mark Van de Hei at 355 days.
And in some entertainment news, two of the biggest names in country music are teaming up for one of the industry's biggest nights of the year. The Academy of Country Music Awards announced Dolly Parton and Garth Brooks will host its 58th award ceremony this year. So this is not Parton's first time hosting the ceremony, but it will be a first for Brooks, who just ended a world tour and is getting ready for his Las Vegas residency. Both will take the stage at the 58th Academy of Country Music Awards on May 11th, which will be streamed live on Amazon Prime Video.
We've been talking a lot about the possible ban on TikTok here in the U.S. due to security concerns, but where would all those users go if the app disappeared?
TikTok has more than 150 million monthly active U.S. users, including small business owners and influencers who rely on the app for a major portion of their profits. Our Sarah Costa takes a look at the other platforms that could benefit if TikTok is banned and how TikTok creators are responding.
Creators, businesses, and influencers are finding themselves in limbo as Congress considers a ban on TikTok if its Chinese owners don't sell their stake in the app.
I have to continue to grow the business. And right now, TikTok is the platform that's been amazing. And I love TikTok.
Ella Livingston is one of more than 150 million monthly users in the U.S. on TikTok, using the platform to grow her chocolate business called Coco Asante.
We always know that a platform can be gone just like that. And so we are always prepared to pivot. And if it's not TikTok, it's going to be another platform.
And she's not the only one ready to move. Influencers who use TikTok as a primary way of generating revenue are already speculating about where they'll go next.
Here's a few right here: Clapper, Huddles, and Likey, to name a few.
So who stands to benefit from a possible ban? Experts say American tech companies with features similar to TikTok, Meta's Facebook and Instagram, allow users to create 15-second video clips called Reels. YouTube has a feature called Shorts. Snapchat Spotlight highlights entertaining videos, and even Spotify has a TikTok-like video feed with recommended music and other content. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is based in Beijing, and the push to ban the app is driven by concerns about national security.
There's an immediate threat via TikTok from the Chinese Communist Party.
Earlier this month, the CEO of TikTok said the Chinese government has never asked for U.S. user data. And even if they did, the company wouldn't provide it. Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Time check 9:10, 63 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
A new networking group in San Antonio is dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs. Later in the show, how this group is helping one entrepreneur with a passion for education. We'll be right back. Let's look out there with live cam. It's kind of been like this all morning, murky, you know, just cool and then very drizzly around town.
I always gauge how the morning's going depending on what people are wearing when they walk in the door.
Yeah.
Because when we come in, you know, for our shift early, things are vastly different by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. It's damp, and you know, this is the kind of stuff that's frustrating because it makes for wet roads, slick roads, but we don't get a lot of rain out of it. It's just kind of damp. But that's where we are, and we're going to see this for another couple of hours. This drizzly type stuff. We've got some light returns on the radar too, which equates to some light showers. We're seeing that around Seguin, so it's likely fairly wet there too. But even if you don't see returns on the radar, because drizzle is so shallow in the atmosphere, a lot of times it doesn't show up. So it's still there, and we can see on TransGuide that all the area roads are still wet. A little closer look here at Bexar County, you can see some of these passing very light showers coming through. And as we look at the big picture, perhaps a few more waves of this activity. Typically, once we get to about lunchtime, we get a little bit of heating. The drizzle tends to let up, and I think that's probably what we'll be dealing with today. Now, we have picked up some rain. I mentioned it's not going to fill up your rain gauge, but I suppose every little bit helps. At the airport, we've got about 7/100 of an inch, Stinson 6/100 of an inch. The big winner this morning, if you want to call it that, 1/10 of an inch there in Bernie out of this light drizzly shower activity. We do need whatever we can get at this point. The drought monitor came in today, and it still shows a lot of bad news. You'll notice the Panhandle's in bad shape. West Texas doing a little bit better. East Texas is almost completely out of drought. But right here, we've still got our bullseye of exceptional drought. And now this takes into account almost all of Bexar County here, including San Antonio. So it shows that the drought is becoming more widespread and sort of spreading a little bit. and that's not what we want to see. Medina Lake, it is 83 feet down, 5.4% full. This is about as low as it'll go, I would imagine, unless we just continue to see some massive drought conditions. Let's hope we get some rain in the coming days. There are some small chances there to at least kind of just keep things steady. Temperatures at 63, dew point at 63. We've got 100% humidity, which you know if you step outside. In the forecast for today, decent chances of drizzle through about noontime. We'll taper that off some, but we still could see a shower or two later today. Temperatures up around 78 this afternoon, and then staying cloudy tonight. We still could see a few showers overnight going into tomorrow morning. Now, the dew point trend shows kind of what we're dealing with here. So very, very humid today, very muggy. Starts to fall off a little bit tomorrow afternoon as far as humidity is concerned. Then we get a front through. Saturday's dry, low humidity, and then it comes right back up on Sunday, humid again, and then humid and hot to start next week. And as we look at the water vapor, you can see kind of what's going on here. We have a upper level low out of California, and out ahead of it, we're getting good moisture in the upper levels too, out of the Pacific. So we've got a lot of high clouds, and then you've got the moisture surging in from the Gulf of Mexico. All those things combining to give us these showers and light drizzle that we're getting this morning. 20% chance through the afternoon. Clouds will continue to kind of fill in. And as we get into tomorrow, we're still seeing quite a bit of cloud cover here. And rain chances will start to taper off. Then we'll be watching for a front coming through tomorrow afternoon. And with that front, there could be a stray shower or storm. And I'm waiting for the clouds to catch up here. This thing's still loading. I don't know why that is. But 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon could be a couple of showers and storms right along the front as that comes through. And then once that front comes through, then we see the drier air coming in on Saturday. So the weekend forecast, let's break it down for you. 84 Saturday, lower humidity, 10% chance of a shower. And then humidity returns on Sunday with a 20% chance of a storm. Chances of seeing a storm on Sunday are low, but if we do, there could be a strong storm or two. 85 Sunday, as we said, and then 92 Monday, 93 Tuesday, and oh, by the way, it'll be 90 tomorrow. So we've
by the way,
we've got from 60s and cool earlier this week to 90 by Friday. Bit of a cool down this weekend, and then back into the 90s Monday and Tuesday before we get another cool down. A lot to ingest during the 7-day forecast, but stay with us and keep us on the KSAT weather app, and we'll update you daily.
You try to sneak that 90 in there.
Did try to sneak that in there. Didn't want to talk about it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
918, 64 degrees.
And coming up next, a look at some morning sports, including highlights from the Spurs game last night and how one fan is a cut above when it comes to honoring Coach Pop.
9:22 was Fan Appreciation Night at the AT&T Center last night for the Spurs' last home game this season here in San Antonio. First quarter, Trey Jones steals the ball, fast break, passes to Bates Diop, back to Jones for a layup and the first bucket of the game. Jones with the ball again, feeds Mamu, who passes to Zach Collins for a slam dunk. We're tied at 14. Utah led 36-33 after one. Second quarter, Malachi Branham steals the pass, scores. Spurs trail by 4. More Mamu now. Devontae Graham feeds him for a sweet shot off the window and the foul. Free throw was good. It's 55-52 Jazz. Closing seconds, Chris Dunn hits one for Utah. They lead the half 64-62. Third quarter, Spurs down 9. Mamu fakes 3, then drives and scoops and scores, cutting the lead down to 7, but the Spurs trailed after 3, 93-88. Utah opened the fourth on a 10-2 run. Dunn 3-ball. Jazz lead by 15. Timeout Spurs. They trail by as many as 19 in the fourth, but fight back to get close. Trey Jones steals a pass, dimes Branham for some jam, and San Antonio down with 1:18 to go. Too little too late, rather. Spurs fall in their final home game here in San Antonio, 128-117.
We're all very competitive. We want to go out there and win, every game, but just understanding, like you said, with our age, we're trying to build something here, and we all definitely do understand that. And so continue to just try to learn as much as we can, and knowing that it'll pay off in the long run.
Spurs start a 3-game West Coast road trip tomorrow against the Warriors at 9 p.m. Check out the Spurs fan with Greg Popovich shaved into the back of his head. The guy also wearing a Basketball Hall of Fame shirt with pictures of Pop all over it. Coach Pop, along with Tony Parker and Becky Hammond, among the finalists voted into the Hall of Fame. This superfan actually walked up to Larry Ramirez yesterday before his 6 p.m. live shot and asked if he wanted to see the back of his head, and Larry said, "Yeah, I'm glad I did." Dallas Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones made headlines this week when he said the Cowboys didn't offer Zeke Elliott a contract prior to releasing him as a salary cap casualty. And when he said he'd consider bringing Zeke back if he doesn't sign with another team, so far he hasn't. So how difficult was it for Mike McCarthy to say goodbye to Zeke?
I know my time, what I admired about Zeke, going back to the pandemic, when we had our meetings out into the Ford Center, and Zeke sat in the first seat, front row, and so he's very coachable, a great teammate. He's loved in the locker room. So all those things factor. But I think just like anything, the financial puzzle, you're always trying to put it together and trying to build and grow your football team. So these decisions are always very difficult.
Now, Zeke named the Eagles as one of 3 teams he'd like to play for. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni addressed that and said they feel really good about their current running backs as of right now. With the 2nd overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Texans are expected to take a quarterback. 2 of the main names being thrown around: Ohio State QB C.J. Stroud and Bama's quarterback Bryce Young. Carolina traded up with Chicago to move up to the #1 overall pick, and they are expected to draft one of those guys as well. Texans head coach DeMeco Ryans was asked what's the most important thing he looks for in a quarterback, and he said leadership.
Is that quarterback a guy who can galvanize a locker room and rally the troops and get guys to believe in him? That's the trait, and it's easier said than done because only so few guys can do that, right? And it's special guys, and that's a special position where you can find a guy that his teammates can rally behind, teammates believe in him. That's when you know you have a guy.
Coach Ryans also said that former Texans head coach Gary Kubiak has given him a shoulder to lean on during his early days of being a head coach over there in Houston.
Well, time now 9:26 and 64 degrees for now. There's a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9, including a look at the San Antonio Zoo's newest animal members. So Sarah Costa is going to introduce us to these little sloth pups and tell us more about them.
Plus, how a new networking group is helping women entrepreneurs grow and how you can get involved too. That's coming up after the break. There's a new networking group here in San Antonio dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs through connections, resources, and education.
Tiffany Huertas has a look at how this group is helping one entrepreneur with a passion for education and how other entrepreneurs can get involved.
First, a citizen scientist uses their mind.
We are a children's educational experience company.
Ashley Bird is behind the company called Blooming with Birdie.
We design experiences for children both digitally through online experiences that typically come with some sort of hands-on kit. And then we also do in-person experiences that are really curated for children.
Bird is a certified Montessori educator and began her business in 2020 with support from Geekdom, a collaborative working space downtown.
I went through their pre-accelerator program and from there have just taken off with a ton of support from Geekdom.
Now Bird is sharing her experiences and connecting with other entrepreneurs thanks to the Women Founders Network at Geekdom. The networking group held their first meeting last month, bringing together 54 women entrepreneurs. Brooke Rodriguez, operations director at Geekdom, says they focus on helping entrepreneurs of all industries.
We really saw a need to help women connect with other women, connect with mentors and resources as well.
The group will be hosting their second free event for women entrepreneurs on Friday. They will be focusing on financing and funding. The event will be held at the Geekdom Event Center on Soledad Street and East Houston Street starting at 8:30 a.m.
If you have an idea, however big or however small, just come and share it knowing that people there are going to be open to receiving it and supporting you.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
And here's the information again for the group's second meeting. It will be tomorrow morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m. At the Geekdom event Center on East Houston Street. And again, this is a free event to attend.
You okay? All right, she's going to grab a drink. All right, right now we're looking out at the San Antonio International Airport. The clouds just hanging around. How do you golf in weather like this, Justin Horn?
You really, it's tough. It is because you got the drizzle. Of course, the greens are nice and soft, so there's that. But as we look at the Valero Texas Open forecast here, a little drizzly out there this morning. Just check the leaderboard. Scott Piercy leading the way at 2 under. He's on the 3rd hole now. It is going to be warm and humid today, 78, but really hot tomorrow and windy. So the golfers will have a variety of weather to deal with. We get a front through on Friday. That means cooler Saturday with lower humidity, 84. And then on Sunday, there's a chance of a storm. And it's breezy pretty much all the way through. But the winds switch around every day. So good luck to the golfers. It's going to be a little tough out there. That's usually how it goes this time of year here in San Antonio. Drizzly this morning, foggy in some spots, low-hanging clouds, and just damp. 63, southeasterly winds at about 6 miles per hour. And there's a look at the radar. We still see these waves of very light rain coming through, and a lot of times the drizzle doesn't show up on radar, but it is there. So it's going to stay this way for a couple more hours, and we likely will still even see a few showers into the afternoon. Hey, Steph, here's the reason right here, just to let you know. 5,140. Now, it is down from yesterday, from that 11,000 number, but it's still high. Likely the drizzle, the rain helping a little bit. Molds have jumped up into moderate. Pine and pecan are low. Here's KSAT 12-hour forecast. Fog and drizzle, a good bet this morning. We taper that off around lunchtime, but we leave in a stray shower in the forecast this afternoon with temperatures, as I said, up around 78 or so. Some really hot stuff heads our way tomorrow, and again next week. We'll look at that 7-day forecast for you, lay it all out, coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Justin, thank you. I'm not seeing any accidents right now, but we have a couple of disabled vehicles to tell you about. One is at 410 and Morrison, the other 281 at Stadium Drive in the northbound lanes of Highway 281. Top stories this morning: a stolen truck taken from one side of town leads to a deadly shooting on the opposite side of the city.
San Antonio police say the truck's owners tracked down the truck and took matters into their own hands.
The deadly confrontation took place in a shopping center parking lot on the southeast side. The owners of the truck tracked down the suspect across town 20 miles from where it was stolen on the north side, thanks to an Apple AirTag in the truck.
They tried to confront the suspect who they saw in their vehicle. I don't know if an argument happened, but we know that during this time he believes that a firearm may have been pulled by the suspect.
Police, I'm sorry, this is your part, Stephanie.
Police say they are still working to verify the suspect had a gun, and added that the truck owner and 2 family members who were with him during the shooting made a statement at police headquarters. At this time, they are not facing any charges, but we are told it is still early in the investigation.
A leader of one of San Antonio's largest school districts embroiled in abuse allegations after a teen made an outcry at school.
Court records confirm that Northeast ISD board trustee Marsha Landry is accused of physically and verbally abusing her stepson.
KSAT investigates. Dylan Collier digs into the fallout.
Less than a year after being sworn in as District 7 trustee of Northeast Independent School District, Marsha Landry is facing allegations of child abuse. The claims laid out in this motion to modify residency filed by the boy's mother in Bexar County State District Court in late January. The filing came weeks after Landry's teenage stepson told a school counselor, science teacher, and special education caseworker at NEISD's Madison High School that his father had hit him with the metal part of a belt, and that trustee Landry had hit him on the back of the head on a regular basis. The child said he was denied food all day when he forgot his lunch money, and that Landry refers to him as, quote, her slave. The filing states a motion to change the child's primary residence was partially granted, although a court official told KSAT this week no final order on the matter has been signed.
A district official confirms NEISD police are not investigating the case. Instead, Madison High School administration have turned over what they were told to Child Protective Services.
A CPS spokeswoman said she had no public information available to release. Landry has not been criminally charged. We made multiple attempts to get comment from her via email, but after not hearing back, we stopped by the district's board meeting Monday night.
Trustee Landry, been trying to reach you. Your response to the court filing?
That's right, Tom.
Yeah, it hasn't been called to order yet. So any response to the allegations against him?
Any ISD officials declined to comment on the allegations, but did confirm the child no longer attends Madison High School. For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
A bar owner preparing to go up against the state, the city, and the Alamo. Moses Rose's hideout sits in the footprint of a planned visitor center and museum, a central part of the $400 million plan to overhaul Alamo Plaza.
But after the owner refused to settle for what he saw as a lowball offer, the San Antonio City Council gave the go-ahead to take the property on the state's behalf using what's called eminent domain.
But as Garrett Berger reports, the bar owner doesn't plan to just let them come and take it.
The signs in the front window of Moses Rose's hideout leave no doubt about how owner Vince Cantu feels about his current situation.
Basically, we're negotiating with a terrorist with using illegally this eminent domain threat.
Cantu says he wants to sell his bar, but for the right price. His attorney says that since eminent domain was put on the table, the city, on behalf of the General Land Office, has offered $4 million for the property, and an additional valuation for the business is still pending. The state's land commissioner says the GLO has also offered to build and move Cantu into a property across the street, which he has declined. Cantu says he's already given his best and final offer, $10 million for the business and property, plus $500,000 for relocation, along with other stipulations like a plaque recognizing the Mexican soldiers who died in the battle. But the GLO, he and his attorney say, rejected it.
But there's still some time to negotiate, and we're hoping that they'll come around and negotiate with us properly.
Cantu says if the state can't come up with an offer he's happy with, he's prepared to fight in court.
He and his attorney say eminent domain is being used illegally in this case.
So we don't believe that going down that route is good for them, and in the long run, we're going to win that.
In an emailed statement, the San Antonio city attorney said, quote, the city, Alamo, and the Texas General Land Office are still in substantive discussions with Mr. Cantu's attorney to determine the value on this property. We will continue to work on a resolution, whether that is done through a negotiated agreement or through the legal condemnation process. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
9:39, 64 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
When we come back, we are introducing you to San Antonio's Zoo's newest animal ambassadors.
The Alamo City was asked what they wanted to name the 2 new baby sloths at the San Antonio Zoo, and the final names have been chosen.
That's right. The community overwhelmingly voted for the names Sol and Luna, and our Sarah Costa takes us inside the butterfly rainforest exhibit at the zoo and introduces us to the exhibit's new residents.
Inside the butterfly rainforest, you won't just find hundreds of butterflies from Central and South America, but other Central American natives. Meet Sol and Luna, 2 pup sloths. The 2-fingered sloths arrived at the zoo in December. They are just under a year old, and now they are ready to move into their new space. The community has donated, voted, and chosen their names, Sol and Luna, which mean sun and moon.
Because of the generous donations of our San Antonio Zoo community that we are able to name them.
Liz Johannick is an animal ambassador and works closely with Sol and Luna. She says Luna is a bit of a ham. She loves to climb and knows when she is on camera. Her favorite foods are grapes and green beans.
She definitely likes to eat the green beans the most, and she probably is more outgoing.
Sol knows what he likes, and sleeping in his room is his most favorite thing. Did you know sloths sleep 15 to 20 hours a day? What a life.
Sol is a little bit more reserved, so Sol kind of likes what he likes. I would say, takes a little bit more time to warm up to things.
Sol and Luna are a perfect fit for the butterfly rainforest. They eat fruits and vegetables and will make great roommates with the butterflies. The San Antonio Zoo is the first zoo in the country to have sloths and butterflies that are living together. Liz says guests can learn more about Sol and Luna through their Animal Ambassador program and the importance of saving their native rainforests.
We actually have a program in Central America called Project Selva that helps with some of the rainforests that you would find these sloths in. And so we want the public to kind of feel responsible and help the animals to thrive by coming and visiting and donating to the zoo.
You can meet Sol and Luna and see them here at the Butterfly Rainforest exhibit or when they're out and about with their Animal Ambassador team. I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
What was it that Mike said this morning? The better names might have been Speedy and Flash?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yeah, that would have been funny as well. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I like that.
They're so very cute.
Yeah, but worth a visit, definitely. I haven't been to the zoo in a while. I'd like to go back now.
Yeah.
That's cool they put them together with the butterflies.
Yeah.
Smart. Works out well. Well, it's drizzly this morning, drizzly and wet. You know that if you've been outside. We're still going to see another couple of hours of this, guys. This light stuff that is tracking through the area. Not a lot of it's even showing up on radar, but there are some light showers here and there, especially east of the city now, feeding up to Seguin and New Braunfels, where they're starting to report some drizzle and light rain there. Around San Antonio, it's mainly just the light drizzly stuff. It should try to let up at least a little bit around lunchtime, and we'll see some improvement out there. I can't guarantee it's going to be dry all day, though, because we'll see maybe a few more showers drifting in by the afternoon. There is some patchy fog still out there, too. I should mention that. The airport now up to 1/10 of an inch, so this drizzle and light shower activity at least is adding up to a little bit of something. Stinson at 0.07 of an inch, Randolph 1/100 of an inch, Bernie about 0.11 of an inch, and we have reported now some measurable rainfall in New Braunfels. There's live cam, still very gloomy looking out there. 63 right now with drizzle coming down at the airport. Southeasterly winds at 6 miles per hour. Here's the satellite picture, and clouds are over top of the entire viewing area. 67 in New Braunfels, 64 in Kerrville, 61 Carrizo Springs, 70 in Cotulla. It's mild out there. Temperatures will manage to make their way up into the 70s today, despite the cloud cover, which I don't think breaks up all that much. 63 Helota, 61 right now, Bernie Stage. In the KSAT 12-hour forecast, we'll keep it cloudy with some decent chances for light showers and drizzle through about 11 o'clock, and then we'll start to taper that off. Cloudy during the afternoon, just a 20% chance of a shower, and temperatures right around 78 or so. Winds will be breezy from time to time, too, out of the south. We still could see a few showers overnight and even going into tomorrow morning. Look at the high temperatures ahead. So we had kind of a cool week, right? Today's going to be right about average. Tomorrow we jump up to 90, and I'll explain why here in just a second, before we drop back down into the 80s this weekend. And then Monday and Tuesday, our hottest days. Right now we're forecasting 92 and 93 respectively before another front comes through. So it is going to be warm going forward. And as we look at the satellite picture over Texas, a lot of clouds, not only here but everywhere across the state, and a few light showers out in West Texas too. The bigger picture here, and we can see the trough to our west that is moving in our direction, that is helping to bring up all this moisture out of the Gulf, and then some high level moisture too coming out of the Pacific. Our forecast does call for a few more showers this afternoon, and then I'm going to fast forward to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. 20% chance for a few showers showing up with this particular model. That quickly moves east, and by the afternoon, even by midday really, skies begin to clear, and we see more of a southwesterly wind tomorrow out ahead of a cold front. That's why temperatures skyrocket. We may be up near 90 before this front comes through. And then along the front, there could be a storm or two, mainly north and east of San Antonio tomorrow evening. Front comes through, we get some drier air, slightly cooler on Saturday. This front stalls out, though, to our south and actually lifts back to the north on Sunday as a warm front. So we'll be back in the humidity on Sunday, and that'll put a 20% chance of a shower or storm back in the forecast. So here it is laid out in the 7-day. There's our fronts, two of them, Friday night and again Wednesday morning. And temperatures, as I said, will be warm. The weekend, all in all, not bad. 84 Saturday, 85 on Sunday. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. Now to some spring shopping deals.
If you hate to miss a good deal, ABC's Alexis Christoforous explains what bargains to look out for this season.
Spring has sprung. That means spending more time outdoors, seeing the sights, and shopping. Every season brings its own deals, and spring is no exception. Kristen McGrath, senior editor at Retail Me Not, has some tips on when to look for the best deals for spring. She says that travel providers offer good discounts on last-minute inventory.
Some of the sweet spots are going to be cruise cabins, hotels, tours, anything that is unsold and needs to be sold. A big exception exception to that is going to be Easter week or any local school spring break week. Those are peak travel times, so stay away from those if you want to save the most.
When looking for appliances, McGrath says a good time for bargains is around Earth Day, April 22nd.
We generally see some pretty good discounts, 20% off in some cases, if you're buying those Energy Star rated appliances, because retailers are tapping into the enthusiasm around Earth Day.
If you're in the market for electronics like computers or televisions, McGrath says that when retailers switch to a new model year, they start discounting the previous year's models.
Another really strategic time to shop for TVs is right around Memorial Day. You're going to find big discounts on those bigger ticket electronics.
Cookware and home goods really go on sale around Mother's Day and school graduations.
Retailers are competing for business, so you will start seeing those gifts on sale marketed towards gifts for mom or gifts for the recent graduate.
And when it comes to spring clothes, McGrath says the best time to shop is when retailers are switching over from spring to summer.
Late April and May is when they're making way for summer clothing on the racks, but the selection on the spring stuff is still going to be pretty good. So you're going to still have a lot of sizes and colors available, and that stuff is going to be on sale.
Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
10 till 10, 64 degrees.
And when we come back, a look at Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's sequel to Murder Mystery on Netflix.
Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston return to the scene of the crime in the sequel to their Netflix movie Murder Mystery.
CNN's Rick Damigella gives us a preview of the new movie streaming right now.
Bonjour. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston are back on the case in Murder Mystery 2.
Do you remember what happened last time we went on a getaway?
Yeah, some people died.
Not a lot of people.
You'd think 5 people dying is a lot.
Okay.
The private detective duo finds themselves on a case that leads them to Paris.
We lucked out. I mean, we were also dealing with a pandemic, so it wasn't like we could go crazy in the streets, but you're still in some beautiful places.
Got to say, some pretty good room service there.
Pretty beautiful, yes.
Yeah.
And great streets, beautiful streets.
Great
Walking
streets.
the streets of Paris.
This guy used to be a soccer player. He headbutted some dude one time and put him into a coma.
Yeah, I know. I hit him so hard, he lost his ability to blink. You know, it's a comedy, and you need suspects. And you need the suspect that is the womanizer, ex-football player.
That's quite the plate. Do they not have food where you come from? Working with 2 absolute legends who were kind and collaborative and build a really amazing, fun set around them, and it was just, I had a really good time doing this and playing this character that was so delicious to play.
The Maharaj has been kidnapped. And all of you are suspects.
We're not going to be invited anywhere ever again.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
All right, we're in the mid-60s right now. Upper 70s this afternoon. The drizzle continues for another couple of hours, and then cloudy, a couple of showers later this afternoon. Then it heats up tomorrow. The sun pops out tomorrow afternoon. We're up near 90 before a little cooler weather sets in this weekend with highs in the 80s. Small chance of a shower storm on Sunday.
But not significant rain.
No, none of this is significant rain, and that's the unfortunate part. We're still waiting on a really good rainfall.
All right. Well, hopefully that'll happen maybe in your next forecast.
Someday.
Someday. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great day.
Absolutely. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning for GMSA at 9.